breaking news flashes across screens. Chinese warships have been spotted off Australia's coast, not in the South China Sea, but right here at home. The nation is stunned. For decades, Australia's vast oceans felt like a shield. Now, that sense of security is gone. The Chinese flotilla's route is no accident, it's a message. These ships are modern, powerful, and their presence signals that the US-China rivalry is now on Australia's doorstep. The Pacific, once a symbol of safety, now feels like a potential front line. This is not fiction. It's the reality of 2026. The sight of these warships in international waters so close to Australia is a calculated act of naval diplomacy, a power play meant to be seen. The Australian Defence Force confirms a guided missile destroyer, a frigate, and a massive supply ship are circling the continent. They're within their legal rights, but the intent is clear. This is a show of strength. China is demonstrating it can operate anywhere, anytime. For Australia, complacency is no longer an option. The strategic landscape has shifted, and the nation must respond. The great game of the 21st century has begun, and Australia is now a key player. The world is watching, and so is China. The question is, how will Australia answer? The shadow on the horizon is here to stay. The Chinese flotilla's journey was no random patrol. It was a deliberate circumnavigation of Australia. Sailing from the Indian Ocean, past Perth, around Tasmania, and up the east coast, the ship stayed in international waters but close enough to be noticed. This was a parade, not a stealth mission, a showcase of China's blue water navy. Sustaining such a force so far from home requires advanced logistics, highlighted by the inclusion of a massive replenishment ship. China's navy is no longer just for coastal defense. It's a global force. This voyage was psychological warfare, forcing Australia to react, track, and acknowledge China's presence. Australian surveillance aircraft and ships monitored every move, but China set the tempo. The message, we are here, we are watching, we can reach you. For Chinese sailors, it was valuable training, navigating unfamiliar waters, gathering intelligence, mapping the seabed, and monitoring signals. Every bit of data collected fits into a larger strategic puzzle. This was more than a political message. It was a practical military exercise. China is learning about Australia's defenses and the region's environment. The voyage helps China prepare for any future conflict in the Indo-Pacific. The Dragon's Armada wasn't just sailing, it was learning. Australia must now adapt to this new reality. The Royal Australian Navy versus the People's Liberation Army Navy, David and Goliath. China's navy is now the world's largest, with aircraft carriers, advanced destroyers, and a growing nuclear submarine fleet. Australia's navy is professional and advanced, but much smaller. The scale of China's expansion means Australia faces a serious numerical disadvantage. The old safety of distance is gone. Australia's limited fleet must cover vast waters. China is closing the technology gap, fielding warships with cutting-edge missiles and sensors. Australia can't match China ship for ship, so it invests in asymmetric warfare, long-range missiles, cyber capabilities, and, crucially, nuclear-powered submarines through AUKUS. These subs are stealthy, long-range, and designed to deter aggression. Australia's strategy: make any attack too costly for China. The naval gap is real, but deterrence is the new game. The moment the Chinese task force appeared, Australia's Navy responded with calm professionalism. Commanders in Sydney coordinated a sweeping surveillance operation. No panic, just execution. Australian frigates shadowed the Chinese ships, while P-8 Poseidon aircraft kept watch from above. Sapi tribuata bispadagrban bamuwatnancy. Every signal and movement was recorded and analyzed. The message: we see you. Australia's approach is firm but not provocative, asserting sovereignty without escalating tensions. Encounters are managed safely and professionally to avoid miscalculation. The incident has injected urgency into Australia's naval strategy. The focus enhanced maritime domain awareness with more drones, satellites, and intelligence sharing with allies. Deny the adversary surprise. Knowledge is the primary weapon. The circumnavigation was a test, and Australia passed. But vigilance is now the watchword. More tests will come. Australia's navy is ready. The stakes have never been higher. China's navy is just the tip of a much larger strategy in the Pacific. Across island nations, China is building roads, ports, and stadiums, outspending traditional partners like Australia and New Zealand. This is the maritime extension of the Belt and Road Initiative. Tonga, for example, is now deeply in debt to China, raising fears of economic leverage and potential strategic concessions. China's aid comes with strings, and analysts warn of debt trap diplomacy. Economic dependence could lead to political alignment, votes at the UN, or even access to ports. China is also providing police training and surveillance tech, embedding itself in local security. For Australia, this is an alarming trend, a direct challenge to its influence in the region. China offers an alternative model, free of Western lectures, and many Pacific leaders find it attractive. The battle for the Pacific is fought with loans, concrete, and promises, not just warships. On the ground, Pacific Islanders have mixed feelings about China's rise. Many leaders welcome China as a partner that delivers real infrastructure, roads and ports, not just consultants. This gives them options beyond Australia and New Zealand. But beneath official enthusiasm, anxiety grows. Journalists and opposition figures worry about opaque loan terms and the risk of losing control over key assets. Some local businesses benefit from construction, but many are sidelined as Chinese firms import their own labor and materials. The promised economic windfall often fails to reach local communities, breeding resentment. Islanders want development, but fear over-reliance on a single powerful partner. A community elder says, "We are like small fish. When the big sharks fight, we get hurt." Pacific peoples want friendship with all, not to be forced to choose sides. Their voices are crucial in this unfolding drama. The region's future depends on their choices. The geopolitical storm is real, but so are local hopes and fears. The Pacific is not just a chessboard, it's home. The world should listen. Australia is not standing still. The Chinese Navy's circumnavigation and growing influence in the Pacific have triggered a major defense pivot. Billions are being invested in upgrading the Australian Defence Force for long-range deterrence. The centerpiece, AUKUS, a pact with the UK and US to acquire nuclear-powered submarines, fast, stealthy, and able to strike from afar. Australia is also buying long-range missiles to project power beyond its shores. But the response isn't just military. The Pacific Step-Up boosts aid in infrastructure for island nations, aiming to re-establish Australia as the partner of choice. Ministers are listening more, promising a respectful partnership. This dual approach, harder military edge, softer diplomacy, is Australia's answer to the China challenge. The kangaroo is pushing back, shaping its own destiny in a contested region. How you see China's actions depends on where you stand. Beijing calls it a peaceful rise, modernizing its military to protect trade and citizens, just like any great power. Chinese officials insist their naval activities are legal, transparent, and not aimed at any country. They accuse the West of a Cold War mentality. From the West's perspective, it's a power play, part of a broader push to challenge the US-led order. Analysts point to militarized islands, pressure on Taiwan, and economic coercion as evidence of aggressive intent. The voyage around Australia is seen as intimidation and intelligence gathering. Western experts warn this is a coordinated campaign to expand China's influence and push the US out. The peaceful rise narrative is seen as a smokescreen for a power grab. These irreconcilable views fuel Indo-Pacific tensions. The truth may lie somewhere in between. The Chinese warships have vanished over the horizon, but their impact lingers. The era of strategic competition in the Pacific is here. Australia is now on the front line of a high-stakes rivalry. The risk of miscalculation is real. One mistake could trigger a crisis. Calm, professional communication between militaries is vital, but trust is eroding. If conflict erupts, the consequences would be catastrophic for the region and the world. Australia's strategy is deterrence, not provocation, showing strength to prevent war. The circumnavigation was a signal of China's ambition. AUKUS and the Pacific Step-Up are Australia's answer. Two powerful currents now flow through the Pacific. The hope, they pass without colliding. But hope is not a strategy. The region has changed forever. Australia's watch has just begun.